Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. We have the midweek edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. I want to thank you guys for coming on board for this video. I know you guys have been waiting, and so have I. And here we are. It has finally come to fruition. So we're going to talk about some of the best finds that you could locate out there. Not only going through coin rolls or massive amounts of change, but also those folks that like to go to the coin shops and the shows. There's a pretty big one down in Southern California happening here this week. So I'm willing to bet that there's going to be a fair number of you guys attending the Long Beach Expo to take part in that. Really good time to go out to the dealers and see what you can cherry pick, whether it's for resales or to add something really cool to your collection that otherwise will cost you an arm and a leg to obtain already attributed. So few of the same ground rules still apply. We look at strictly raw, ungraded coins. So the thing about varieties and errors is that they speak for themselves, right? You have an attribution number or whatever is attached to that particular error or variety. And as long as it matches and you have really good photos, you could sell them ungraded. Why grade anything? You go and spend your hard-earned money to grade a coin, and lo and behold, it doesn't affect the value of the coin at all. All right. So I'm telling you, the guys, this right now. When you find it, you can literally list it within moments and then take advantage of the sale. Another thing to keep in mind, all of the original photos you see here today from eBay and their respective sellers are all 100% original. We didn't juice or doctor any of the photos to make them look a lot better for this show. We don't do that. No, sir. No, ma'am. You're going to get the best and the worst. All right. At the very least, you guys know where that bar is set. So that way it gives you an idea of how you should take your photos when you go to sell your coins. All right. So quick little announcement, whatnot. We'll have another show this Friday. The Tuesday Around the Globe happened last night. Again, people got some steals and deals from that, and it's good to see. Heck, I'm all for a good steal and a deal. And oh, by the way, I did make a typo on the that original page there. It's not really September 7th yet. All right, so we still got a day. But we will be back on this Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I know it's going to be kind of like really scatterbrained and busy because there's going to be a lot of whatnot creators at the Long Beach Expo that will be doing their sales live from the event. So, it's something I have to compete with, but that's okay. We're going to have fun. And generally, I'll only consume about an hour and 15 minutes of your time. So that way you can join up with some of those other guys. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. If you're brand new to the platform, you've never heard of it, great. It's a fantastic alternative to eBay. I think it's a lot better than eBay. And you're able to get some pretty wild deals. And if you're looking to sell, it's a great platform to sell on as well. So I do have a referral link down below in the description box. And it'll be also tagged in the comments section of this video if you wanted to take advantage of that. Earn yourself $15 in usable credit by signing up under my referral link. And, you could possibly get something for free, which a lot of people have had with that $15. So thanks for listening to me on my usual whatnot spiel. Well, let's go ahead and jump right in. We got this $1 bill bearing the date 1969 as the series period. Really wild find here, all right? And people have been finding similar notes like this going all the way up to the new-ish 2017 series $20 bills, all right? And this one, ladies and gentlemen, exhibits mismatched serial numbers. Yeah, you read that right. Mismatched serial numbers on our own currency here. And it's something, yet again, that I cannot stress. If you are going to be hunting currency, make sure you look at both sets of serial numbers. You just never know what you're going to find. So on this particular note right here, the second digit in the serial number is the X factor. All right, one says 8, the other one says a 7. Which one is really correct is anybody's guess, But in any event, that this is a wildly expensive BEP error, and one that is certainly appreciated over time. I mean, these things, I used to get these for $100 10 years ago. Man, they're not even close to that today. So this one right here, a best offer was accepted on a buy it now listing to the tune of $400 freaking dollars for a note. Again, raw, ungraded. I mean, look at this thing. It's probably a good solid like VF25 grade. If we were gonna go kind of like numerical speak here, but all in all, just a really awesome note. And again, the mismatched serial numbers are being found all the way up to 2017. The most recent types are the $20 Fed Reserve notes. And a few of them have sold not only on eBay, but also on websites like Heritage Auctions. They've had a mismatched $20 bill here recently. And it's sold for like $1,000. So again, this is one of the top tier paper money errors that people opt for, collectors wise. But overall, just a really great way to kick off the PCMR for today. Next one that we have here, word of note. Okay, so this is a 2023 Lincoln Shield cent with that funky extra V anomaly at the base of Lincoln's bust. We'll see that here in a moment. But what an overachieving amount of money this thing sold for. It ended up going for $80.25, which is on the high range for these things. And you'll see that here momentarily. You could get two of them for $60 from one seller. Yeah, they're back. And, well, they ended up with more inventory wherever, kind of area they're finding those things at. But this one right here is damaged. I don't know if you guys see that ring circle thing on the obverse of the coin, which is the front of the coin. That is a ring of damage. Okay, they call it counter wheel damage because it's on the end of a roll, and that little finger that crimps the paper on the end makes contact with the coin as it circles around. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is not an error and on itself. I get this all the time, and I'm telling you guys, that's damaged. If you were going to send this coin out to a PCGS or NGC grading company, they're going to say that that's damaged. All right, so that extra V, you can see this one, not the best photos. I actually had to blow the photo up from this one that they had used as their close-up. And just looking at it right there, you could actually see that little V anomaly. It's right next to Victor David Brenner's initials. This is infamous right now. This is one of the big coins of this year, and a lot of people have been making some pretty heavy cash reselling these. Originally, they were heavily distributed in the state of New York. So if you're in that area and you wanted to make some money, go to the bank, grab yourself some rolls, and see if you could find some of these, because apparently there's an abundance of them. All right, so $80.25 on this one. More to come on this coin later. Next one that we have here, well, actually one of my favorite varieties. All right, and one that I think is a little bit underappreciated, considering that there are other different types of varieties, and especially on a 1960, there's a certain large over small date variety that's taken center stage. This one, however, is a great repunchment mark on this D over D Lincoln Memorial cent. It's the FS502 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. When we look up close, look at the mint mark. That's their coin, by the way. That is because it says so, our coin. This particular seller sells a lot of varieties. They've been around the biz for a healthy amount of time. But this one here, you could see a really completely separate Denver mint mark that's punched west of the primary. Unmistakable. In certain cases, depending on how clean the coin is, you could see it with the naked eye. That's how strong it is. So this one right here ended up selling for $53.90, which is these days a much better sales price than I've seen in quite a while. Normally I see these things in that $10 to $20 range. This is truly, genuinely a nice minty red example, and that's probably why it's sold for this amount of money. Coming up next here, how about a little classic, all right? I've actually owned one of these, and it probably looked no better than this one that you have here. This is an 1807 over 6. It's an overdate variety, drape bust, large cent. Now, admittedly, the coin has a fair amount of what we call environmental damage, all right? A lot of porosity all throughout this coin. While it still has good amount of detail, I mean, you could totally tell that the elements surely did affect this one. Maybe it was dug in the ground, or maybe perhaps it was in a river, which back on the east coast of the U.S. A lot of these were found in in freshwater rivers, on Civil War battle sites and things like that. I mean, it's really cool to see something like this. And you can imagine that someone metal detecting an empty, open, kind of like farm field, coming across one of these is a heck of a find. Now, you can see that last 7 in the date there over a number 6, which is there. This is one of the well-known Cherry Picker's Guide varieties, let alone a Red Book variety as well. So, it's definitely very prominent out there, and it's still great to see one like this that's been saved at one point. And there's no reversing this kind of damage, right? When you do come across a coin that maybe was pulled out of the ground, you have to really take care of it. All right, there's no stopping this progression of this type of damage, other than just washing it with distilled water. Rinse, don't apply any scrub or friction to the coin, and you're going to be okay. And that's where you're at on there. So this one right here, in its current condition, not worth a ton of money. $105 is not nothing. It's still a nice little chunk of change for something that looks like it came out of a cornfield. So very nice find. All right, well, it's been a while since we highlighted one of these, but here's another one here. This is the 2000 piece Sacagawea dollar. This is the Wounded Eagle Reverse variety. All right, so this one is very well known to a lot of my viewers. You guys know this coin. I haven't talked about one of these in probably 2 months. Like all of a sudden, they just kind of disappeared. But, it comes in waves. People will find them, all right, and they're still quite a common type of variety to look for out there. But yeah, they'll come in waves. There'll be like 10 of them that sell in a week, and then it'll go quiet for a few weeks or a month, and then more to come. So I guess it really depends on who's searching and where these are being found. So up close, this is a really wild up close image, though. You can hardly tell that this is actually the back hind quarters of the bird. All right, so this is the breast feathers here. The wing is up here, but you can see this raised line right here, which is a die scratch or gouge. And it's usually accompanied with a second smaller die gouge. And these are raised. And that's how it gets its namesake, because it looks like a spear that goes through the eagle. So, pretty neat. Again, these are still quite valuable. This one ended up selling for $80.25 with 2 bids. And the coin is in actually pretty good shape. I've seen a lot of worse off type coins with corrosion and water spots and things like that on there, stains, you name it. And this one is pretty good, and for the amount of money, it's a really good flip as well. Okay, well, here you go. You didn't have to wait long to see the other listing we had on today for the Extra V 2023 Lincolns. So this seller right here was selling them in pairs. All right, so you have to, if you're looking to buy some of these, this is probably the best way to do it, because he or she has them for $60 plus shipping for 2 of them, and that today represents the cheapest price that you could get these for. So this one right here is sold for $65.25. Again, that's with shipping. And there's 2 of them, and they look similar to this. I mean, they look pretty nice. I would say they're an easy 64 grade. I know people are buying these and sending them off to like NGC and PCGS to get them graded, and then they resell them to the tune of $400 plus. All right, so there's definitely some money to be made here. Don't know how long that's going to last, because I think there's been a lot of people doing just that. And the market, I have a feeling, could get flooded here real soon. So certainly still worth the endeavor. but don't wait too long to do this. There's again a little close up, and then again there's that little tiny V right there, which looks eerily similar to the V in the designer initials, a little bit. But as far as size, that's where the similarities are, and then after that, that's where it ends. Pretty cool. I mean, I've owned a few of these, and I got rid of them really quickly to fans who will appreciate it. So. Really cool what you can find out of your scrap silver. Here's one right here. It's not the best, prettiest example of a 1922 peace dollar, but it does look like it's been dipped or cleaned. It's got a pretty big gash there right above the R in Liberty, right on that rim. So for a common date, this is something that normally you would pull out of like a cull bin of peace dollars and Morgan dollars. But if you look close enough, you might find something neat. Like this one here has a pretty noticeable strike through over the date to the point where the one in the date is nearly obliterated. And you can see some of that go into In God We Trust. So that's like a struck through grease type of mint error on this one. And you would think that it would just add a minimal amount of value. Now, these things aren't worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, but if you bought one for, say, $27 today, this particular coin sold for $65.24. So, for the price of one, you pretty much scored yourself another free silver dollar by the time it's all said and done. So take a second look at your scrap silver. I know to a lot of us it's just constitutional stuff, but, you'd be surprised how a mint error or a variety will change the complexity of the coin on the secondary market. And it's really cool to see that firsthand. And one of the coins that took the world by storm back 2 years ago, still a relevant thing. All right, the crown die chip on the Washington crossing the Delaware quarters. You can see that right above, on top of his head. That is a massive die break chip thing. That goes into E pluribus unum. Needs no introduction really, but I thought I'd bring this up, seeing as how one did sell in the last 12 hours. $68. There you go. Better than a sharp stick in the eye for sure. And if you did find one of these today, I would say flip them. There's just too many of them out there, and they still do exceedingly well for collectors. They're not the $200-$300 coin that they once were, but $68, I would take it all day long. Well, we didn't have much in the way of currency this week, but the couple that we did have, they're really nice. Here's a 1985 $5 bill with a partial back-to-front wedding transfer. You can see that there on the left side there, with kind of like that ghostly image of what would be on the reverse of this note. So that is simply just a transfer of ink from the impression cylinder where the subject sheet sits on, before they're printed, and it was transferred to the front of the note. All right, so that it's similar to a die clash in coins. So this particular one right here, while it's kind of subtle and it's like very small and limited. This one still did sell for $85, so that is pretty good. The overall condition of the note is pretty good, high-end VF, like a 35 is what I would call this one. And we did have a couple CUD die breaks today. We have this 1982 large date copper Lincoln cent. You can see the CUD right there on the words "We and Trust" in the motto. All right, so again, these things are the king of the error community. When you do come across these, they are instant guaranteed cash. All right, so I've gone through boxes of Lincoln cents and found like 3 or 4 of these in a grip, in one shot. And they're always welcome. It makes going to the bank and actually buying that box of pennies well worth it. So this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, is just a piece of the die had fallen out due to general wear and tear, which happens. The dies are, steel, but they still crack, they still fracture with the immense load and pressure that, they undergo. It's quite neat. And this one actually looks like a doubled die as well, now that I look at the motto there. It might be, might not be. To my eyes, there's just a lot of general thickness on a lot of those letters. I even see a few split serifs there on the top right of like the W of the word we and U. U looks particularly interesting on this coin. So this one, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $45.49 with 4 bids. So where else are you going to sell a 1982 Lincoln cent for that kind of money? Right here on eBay. And of course, speaking of making a return, we have a couple of these no FG mint mark candy half dollars make a sudden dramatic appearance on a PCMR. After a long kind of like hiatus, these things kind of came out of nowhere, and we have 2 of them back to back that sold. How funny is that? 1972D is one of those dates to look out for. The FG initials are here right on the reverse. So between the tail feathers and this left, from what our point of view, the right leg right there, that's where Frank Gasparo's initials are generally sitting. And due to a little bit of overzealous polishing by a mint employee, that is easy to remove. All right, so with that being said, that one there is pretty well missing. So this one, this is not the greatest looking coin. I'll be honest with you. This one is pretty rough looking. This one is sold for $22, if you could believe that. Someone actually paid $22 for this. Now you can see just barely a remnants of FG right there. But you talk to anyone and they'll say, yeah, that's close enough. So, and there was the 1982P as well. This is the main one in the Cherry Picker's Guide. This one, no doubt about it, it's missing on there, but it's also the most common date to find this anomaly. And because of that, they sell for a lot less money. So this one is in much better condition compared to the 72D, which is a rare date. And this one sold for $12.85. So that's as good as a 90% silver half. I would just take the money and run. These are quite plentiful. I know of people that roll hunt half dollars that have found a lot of these. All right, and they end up selling them. They flip them immediately, so that way they could take that money and put it into more silver. The stacker mentality is crazy. So. Here's another Cud die break. All right, this is a familiar face. We talked about this same one at least once or twice per video in the last 4 videos. So, like I said, someone probably found a cache of these, and they kind of dispersed all throughout the coin community. This one is a 74D. All right, but you can see the Cud die break over part of the word trust there. Again, part of the die had fallen out due to wear and tear. And when it strikes the coins, all that metal flow will go into the empty cavity of that die, creating this raised event. This one sold for $31.05 with 4 bids. So very consistent sale with this particular one here. And this is just one of those cases where the seller opted to not put a reverse image, the entire reverse image of this otherwise pretty cool coin on their auction listing. So it's a 1985 Lincoln Memorial cent. It struck off center by about 75%. It exhibits a full date. If it had a mint mark, you'd probably see that as well. It is a copper-coated zinkin, so it is that composition, and that's why you see the silvering. But really, no reverse image. All right, and that, again, when we're trying to be as accurate as possible to minimize claims and returns, please put a full image, full reverse image on there. All right. So anyways, the 85 sold for $26.25. And one of my favorite coins, boy, this thing is pretty strong. This is a 1999 Lincoln Memorial cent. There's a few kind of notes on there. Why is the reverse more of a golden color than obverse, and blah, blah, blah. And, this is their way of kind of explaining through it. And it works, because if you're playing around with lighting and all that stuff to get an effect, this certainly is a good way of doing it. So we have just a really strong die clash. They call this a prisoner cent, obviously because you got the clash of the memorial bays, the columns right there on the obverse, and they go through Lincoln, and that's how it got its namesake. There's a little close-up. Boy, that is quite strong. Always a welcome surprise on these. So $35. Really good sale here on this one, and that's about what you would expect for a lot of these mainline die clash era coins. 1977 Washington quarter, just a really nice high-grade example, probably found in a mint bag back in the day. There is a pretty notable scratch on the obverse, right behind Washington's head. Don't know if that's a staple scratch being removed out of a 2x2, or that would be friggin' unfortunate because I've seen that a lot. But it could also be a scratch, during the pack out process of these when they are in rolls. Kind of hard to say. But it's a broad strike, probably a little bit of a partial collar in there as well. They kind of go hand in hand. So, yeah, there was something definitely going on with the collar of the mid-press. Maybe it was slightly tilted or completely disengaged due to malfunction. This one is sold for $35.25. Very similar to the last coin. Here's another one here too, but check out the date, 2020. One of the big dates to find, off-center or broad strike Lincolns, as far as like modern dates are concerned. This one sold for $17.11. Not a true rarity, and this one is pretty well circulated, so that did hurt the value a little bit. By the way, this was a buy it now listing, so someone scooped it up for, what is considered to be a fair price on this. Did I tell you that the currency we had, while very limited, they are quite awesome. So where's the overprint on this one? Well, I can tell you this right now. It's missing. It's gone. Call it insufficient ink. All the wells, all the little ink wells, it ran dry on this one. Either that or the sheet was never fed through, or this particular sheet was never fed through for that third print process. All right. And usually on these, you can see them on the back. That's generally where you're going to be, because the sheet will be flipped over inadvertently, and then the overprint would be on the back, but it's not even on the back either. So a little word of note condition-wise, there is some scotch tape there on the left side on the reverse. I don't know if you guys can see that. But still, this is actually pretty wild. $240 sale. These are always big money, similar to the vein of the mismatched serial numbers and inverted overprints and things like that. So this is definitely a top echelon type piece. I forgot about this one. It's been years since I found this variety, and it is on none other than a 1911S Lincoln wheat cent. All right, don't let the date fool you. This is a lot tougher coin than at first glance. High-end examples are gonna cost you an arm and a leg, maybe a spleen in the process, but general, regular, kind of like VF condition coins like this, you're still going to pay $30, $40 for. So make sure you have your magnifier, you know what you're looking for. And there's a couple really awesome RPM varieties. This one right here is the FS501 RPM. You can see that secondary estimate mark is punched west of the primary, and good job to the seller, indicating with arrows what we're looking at here. So this one sold for $71.95. This RPM does a really good job at enhancing the value of a regular standard VF problem-free coin. So, you could really do well cherry picking these coin show. And again, we had really no good full obverse and reverse images of this coin. So this is what you guys are getting. It's a 69S. It's got that cut die break there on the base of the bust of Lincoln. We talked about cuts quite a bit in this video. I'm not going to go through the spiel again. This one sold for $34.99 with 8 bids. Again, I stress again, full obverse and reverse photos for accuracy. You don't want these things to unwind and, get a claim and are like, I want to return it, because you didn't show the back of the coin that had a big, nasty carbon spot on there. See how that sounds? And you have no recourse in that. All right, so protect yourself. Full images on all the coins. And this is actually a full roll of Edith Kanakaole quarters. How cool. This is from Kelly's Treasures again. Who sold that one last week and had found a whole bunch of these die clashes. All right, the one that I love talking about, with the full word of Edith right in Washington's hair and ear area, and you can barely see it on this one, but wait till we get up close. Yeah, so he had this roll that he was selling that had 2 roll enders. You can imagine how many of these die clashes would fill the inside of this thing. You know, it could be the whole roll. All right, and not only that, I don't know if you guys see it. You can see some die clashes right here. The horned spike Washington. You can see it on both of them. All right, so that's clashing on the obverse there of the coin. So there you go. I mean, you could see part of E. You could see a lot of D. Bottom of the I, T, and H there. H is really prominent. But we're still looking for the full featured, like really heavy die clashed Edith, which shows nearly the entire first name for Edith on there. This one I'd say is mid. But for a full roll, $360.95 with 22 bids. It also helps that Kelly did also do a benefits auction, so a portion of this did go to a good cause. All right, so that might have influenced the sale price a little bit, but there's no denying that this is the second hottest find in 2023 coins today. And just a really cool Civil War token. This is not the first time I've seen this one on the not 1 cent version of this, but yeah, pretty notable cuds all around. Lots of die cracks all around the thing. This thing is a mess. And not only that, there was also a little bit of clashing as well. But a lot of the privately minted Civil War tokens back in the day, they had a hard time maintaining the dies. So this is not really a rare occurrence, but they are sure impressive. This one sold for $83.62 with 13 bids. It's a very nice one there. And this poor guy right here was acid dipped. The whole coin, not just the date, but the whole damn coin ended up in a vat of Nicodate or whatever was being used to bring up the date on there. But yeah, you're looking at that correctly. This is indeed a 1918 over 7 Denver Buffalo nickel. That is exactly what this one is. And if you come across these Buffalo nickels with a Denver mint mark but no readable date, it might be worth your while to apply a little bit of that acid right on the date. Again, use caution. It is an acid, very caustic stuff. But that's the best close up. You could see that bottom like bar or whatever, the 7. That's very prominent there. You have the half circle on that top of the 8 there. I mean, this is legit. This is a good one. So still $335.20 sale. All right, this is a very big coin, and even in this condition, where the whole coin is acid treated, you know, what can you do? It's still, how are you gonna know, right? If you don't do it, I probably wouldn't have done the whole coin, but maybe for just consistency of the look and appeal of the coin, maybe it might be better to do that. Me personally, I'd probably just do that little section of the date. I've never done it before. I'm kind of against it, but you know, whatever floats your boat. And because of that, this person had made over $300 on there. So, well done. And we're going to end things off on a couple of really cool pieces of paper money. 1988, a $20 Federal Reserve note. Check out that suffix letter on that bottom left-hand serial number. Another gas pumper, you know, so it's a turn digit. The little number wheel was like partially turned when the print was applied on this one. So you have half a G there, which again, very cool. It's great that people actually catch these before it's too late. The note has circulated, as you can see, and it sold for $99.95. So that's a great way of turning a $20 bill into $100, right? It's kind of like a really cool magician's trick that we all hear about and see, and this is one in real life. So, and the final piece for the PCMR this week. How about a modern $10 bill? Yeah, modern 10, 2013 dated $10 bill. Now, on the front of the note, it looks like nothing really spectacular, right? It's you know, used in $10 and and whatever debt you want to pay off, But please, look at both sides of the bill, look at the serial numbers, do everything that's right in the world for you when you're doing the currency hunting. You might as well take advantage of it, while you can. But yeah, insufficient ink. They didn't even get, enough ink to print out the rest of this note. All right, and probably more other notes on the same subject sheet ended this way. I'm just surprised it never made it out of quality control as far as, for destruction. Usually they're good at finding things like this, but you never know what you're going to come across. That's the beauty part of this world we're living in. If people are still running machinery, there's always that chance of errors happening. And case in point, this $10 bill is awesome. $170 was the final sell price. So again, that's a great way to make a few dollars by finding this. And again, it's all about frequency and consistency. How much of something are you looking through to find this stuff? If you're just going through like a couple coins in your pocket and you become discouraged, that's on you. You have to be intentional about it, and you have to have fun, like this video is trying to do. It's for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Collect and grade responsibly if you must. Education, put that front and forward as you are going through this hobby and learning much about it. It's great. It's very historical. It's a lot of fun, and it's you're playing with house money when you go to the bank and get this stuff, because you can put the money right back, folks. So that's going to go ahead and wrap things up on this Pocket Change Market Report. Thanks for coming on by on this Wednesday. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will love you long time. All right? And thank you for all the views and support after all these years. All right? 12 years strong, and I appreciate and adore every single one of you. Best of luck in your hunts. Have fun in this hobby, and it'll treat you back in kind. Take care.